Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to the LinkedIn for Students presentation put on by 10,000 Degrees. And congratulations for graduating high school and moving on to the next huge steps in your life. That is really a huge accomplishment. So you should all just take a moment and pat yourselves on the back or give yourself a little emoji hand clap or party. Good job. Way to go. The past couple years have been anything but easy for students and teachers and people who work in education, and the fact that you all persevered and are here today in this room with us is a huge deal. So congratulations, and really, really excited for all of you and what the future holds. My name is Eli Weinsweg, and I'm a director within 10,000 Degrees, and I've worked with high school students to help get access to the amazing programs that we have at 10,000 Degrees. And you may even see some of the familiar faces in here of some of the success side folks who've been working with you to help kind of get situated for the next stages of your life. One of those is school, but we all go to school to kind of figure out what we're going to do in our lives and, what do you want to be when you grow up kind of conversations. And so today we're going to talk about the beginning of that and how to build and set up a LinkedIn, which is kind of like an online resume, but it's so much more. So I just want to say one more time, welcome. Thank you for being here with all of us. And as I talk, feel free to jump into the chat. You can ask questions. Feel free to interrupt me whenever you need. This is supposed to be kind of an informal conversation that we can roll through. And I already see a question in the chat. What if I already have a LinkedIn account? Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. However, there may be some stuff in this presentation that we're going to talk about today that you didn't know about and that you can kind of add into it. The other really cool piece about what you all get from this experience today is at the end of it, we're going to be sharing with all of you in a week or two a free year-long premium account for LinkedIn. And so if you have LinkedIn, that's awesome, it's free, but the premium accounts are around $200. And so it is a free gift that we're providing for all of you. We're kind of cruising with us today to get that information. Will there be a recording shared in email? Yes, we'll absolutely share this information with all of you so that we can make sure that you can share this with anyone you need to as well. The way that you'll get the free premium account is by participating in some polls. And so as we walk through these PowerPoint slides today, there's going to be some questions that pop up. By answering them, we're going to be able to get your information, and through that, we'll be able to share with you these premium accounts. So there's a little bit of participation needed. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but definitely click a poll when we get there just to ensure that we're able to get that information that we need. All right, moving on. Here's what we're going to cover today in the workshop. We're going to talk a little bit about what LinkedIn is. We're going to define what having a professional brand is, and I'm going to challenge you all in here to kind of think about what your professional brand is or what you want it to be. We're going to talk about building a LinkedIn profile, creating or building that professional network, using your network on LinkedIn to connect to opportunities, how to search for jobs, internships, and other information on LinkedIn. And then we have a little extra credit coming your way as well. So at the very end, there's some cool information. All right, so let's talk about social media for a minute. What do you do on social media? There's great examples here of some of the very, very popular media accounts. You've got Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Pinterest, Spotify, WhatsApp. And so all of these serve different purposes. Many of you are recent high school graduates, so you probably stay as far away from Facebook as possible because that's what all of us old people use. But on Facebook, you kind of use it as a way of connecting. I like things. And so we're going to use donuts as one of our kind of overarching themes in our conversation today. So if I'm on social media and I love donuts, there's different ways that I can express my love or interest or passion for donuts. On Facebook, that would include liking donuts. Maybe I'm liking a certain donut shop in my neighborhood I love, or Voodoo Donuts, which it has placed all over the country with the cool pretzels stabbed into the little voodoo doll donuts, all sorts of cool stuff. So maybe on Facebook, I'm liking the kind of donuts I like. On Snapchat, I'm actually taking a video or a selfie of myself, maybe eating a donut or walking into a donut shop and bothering the people behind the counter while I'm on my cell phone, and I should just be enjoying the donuts. But that's usually what Snapchat's for. I'm going to show you things. It's a video media way of kind of expressing what's going on in short little segments. I don't have to tell you all, you know what this is. On Instagram, here's a photo of my donut. And while Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok have begun to blend a little bit with some of their algorithms, really the heart of Instagram was to do photo sharing. And so I can share a photo of the donut I've just enjoyed or the donut shop I'm standing outside of. On Pinterest, you can pin things. So maybe you're collecting your favorite donut recipes from all over, the region, and you like to make donuts. And so this is a great place for you to house your donut recipes. On Spotify, you're listening to Jay Dilla, Donuts, 15-year anniversary, yeah. Jay Dilla's got the great album, Donuts. Maybe you love donuts so much, you're gonna listen to donuts while eating donuts. And then the last part on here is WhatsApp. So maybe you wanna reach out to one of your friends. Hey, wanna go get a donut with me? And so these are many different ways that we utilize social media in our lives. All right, so on LinkedIn, it is social media, but we utilize it in a slightly different way. Maybe you have a more professional mindset and you're coming to LinkedIn because you want to operate a donut franchise one day, or you're looking for a job in the donut industry. Maybe you've got years of making donut experience and you want to share that with other donut professionals. Maybe your top skills are donut production and sales, and you're willing to create some cool program that helps donut companies sell their products better. Or you can even get recommendations if you are applying for a job and you're coming from Dunkin' Donuts and you're going to be going to a local donut shop and you need a reference. It's a great place to be able to get references to. And so we're going to utilize LinkedIn in a different way. I'm not going to be taking pictures of what I'm doing on my day-to-day basis or what I'm eating necessarily and post that on LinkedIn. I'm going to kind of keep my professional world professional and my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat world kind of separate. They're both social medias, but have very different utilizations. So we want to talk about building your professional network and connecting you all to opportunity. And while you're all about to embark on this new journey for your post-secondary education, many of you are also looking for jobs. And so it's a great time to begin to build your LinkedIn. Even if you're like, I'm not trying to get a career right now, I still need to go to school. That's fine. You can include all sorts of other information other than just the career that you currently have on here. And one of the beautiful things about LinkedIn is how it connects you to people. And so there are 55 million employers on LinkedIn, and they are constantly looking for jobs. And so, it's a great place to look for opportunity. There are also 722 million professionals on LinkedIn. And so maybe you're not looking for a job, maybe you're looking at doing research for one of your classes that you're going to be taking next year. This is a great place to see who's in this field. Maybe I can email one of these people and get some information and blow your teacher socks off that, you're talking to, professionals in the field of research that you're interested in. And then the last piece of the connecting the opportunity is that there are 2.9 million groups on LinkedIn to join and become part of learning communities or professional communities. And so there is a poll. And that first poll is, how many of you have ever downloaded or used LinkedIn before? So Mark, yeah, I've had an account. I downloaded it once, but I forgot about it. Or no, I've never downloaded or used LinkedIn before. So let's see. Do a little drum roll. And can we see the results?
People are still answering.
Awesome. Awesome.
Last call before we close it.
And remember, filling out the poll is how you will be getting your information to then share with you the free premium account, which you'll be getting in about a week after this presentation. So you definitely want to make sure you're filling those out so that we can send you that account. All right, let's see. So about 30% of you have an account. 10% of you do the route I usually do, which is download the app, maybe open it once, and like, oh, it's asking me to sign in for a bunch of stuff. Like, I'll do it later and then forget about it. And then a bunch of you have never downloaded or used it before, which is phenomenal. So really, no matter where you are on that spectrum of interaction with LinkedIn, you're going to get something out of this today. So we're going to talk a little bit about defining your professional brand. And there's 3 questions that we're going to ask in there. And what makes a good brand? Identifying your brand, and how to show that you're the right choice. And so we're going to talk briefly about what makes a good brand. And, regardless of how you feel about Apple or Android, we're going to use Apple today because of their worldwide marketability. But really, a brand is a company's promise to its customer. It tells customers what they can expect from the company's products or services, and it shows how the products are unique from its competitors. So, like I said, regardless of how you feel about Apple versus Android, what makes Apple a good brand? And if anyone wanted, you could say it out loud or you could drop it in the chat. What are some things that we can relate to being like a reliable brand? You know that if you buy an Apple product, you're getting a certain type of quality, security, easy to use. Yeah. What else? What else makes Apple a good brand, or a brand that's recognizable? Quality product, they have good camera, they neat design, they're beautiful looking devices, reliable, waterproof, GB, is that gigabytes? I don't know. Long lasting, good UI, that's right, color selection, all these things, yeah. And so you get it. All of these things go into making a reliable brand. And if Apple had begun to, maybe their battery quality fell off, or maybe the screens were breaking really easily, and we were seeing, this kind of happening worldwide, they would take a huge hit to like how people view their products. And so they really make sure that they have the highest quality of marketing and branding, because they want us to feel that way about their products. If you've ever bought an Apple product, think about the packaging. Why do we save the white boxes? It's garbage. But if I open the closet behind me, I've got like stacks of empty white Apple boxes, because we keep them, because the products are beautiful. And so these are all things that go into what makes a good brand. And so I have another poll for you, because we're talking about Apple. What do you prefer? Are you an Apple? Are you an Android? Or who cares? It's just a phone. Where are you on the phone spectrum? Because we didn't talk about Android, and Google makes great products too. But there's a difference between an Apple MacBook and a Google Chromebook. And we don't need to go into all those, but it goes back to how brands want to sell themselves. Well, I'm excited to see this one.
Last call.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, well, there you go. I mean, that just shows how we view what good brands are. I mean, the fact that, there's 123 people in here. So, about 100 people have an Apple phone. Like and then a few people just don't care. But still, like, that's really crazy just to think about that type of brandmanship and how most of those things are sitting in our pockets, and they're not cheap either. So we know what makes a good brand. Let's talk about your brand. So your brand is kind of the promise to those around you. It tells people what they can expect from working with you, and it shows people how unique you are. If you think about your brand, it's kind of how you dress every day, your style. You know, when you go out into the world, what are you putting out there? How you do your hair, what kind of shoes you wear, all of these things go into like your own personal brand. And so you can think about it as like your social brand and your professional brand. And sometimes there's a blending of those, which is really cool. And other times you want to keep those things separate. So you really want to make sure that you present your brand in a way that is the way that you are authentic and you're presenting yourself to those around you too. Oh, that question. So how you advertise yourself. Exactly. How you advertise yourself. And it doesn't mean you're walking around with a big sign on your head, but it's really just how you put yourself out into the world. And you know, when you're looking for a job, you definitely want to be putting yourself kind of best foot forward. And so there's some things that we're talking about how you manage your own brand as far as when you're sticking your neck out into the world a little bit more so that people can get the best side of you, or the side that you want them to see, maybe not the side that is saved for friends and family and not for your professional life. So you want to use your brand to show that you're the right choice. And there's ways of doing that. Showing that you're responsible, showing that you care, being honest, and being respectful. And all of these items just go into being a good human being, but are also the skills, the soft skills that employers want. And so, you know, how do you show these things? Well, on LinkedIn, it can be by following certain pages or communities that you're passionate about. You can also put your goals on there. And we're on the next slide, Carla. You can also have your goals put on your LinkedIn, even if you're a new professional. You can still say what you want to do in 10 years. What are you going to school for now? You know, all of you after today, if you decide to set your LinkedIn's up, which you all should be putting on there what schools you're going to, because you're immediately going to get hooked into this incredible alumni network and a network of people who are also on the same campus and going to the same school as you, who share similar backgrounds and passions. And it's a really easy way to make connections. There's not a poll about how many of you are nervous to go to school next year, and I won't ask. But if you're nervous, this is a really easy way of just kind of like scoping out the lay of the land in a safe way from the safety of your home without having to go walk on campus yet. You'll have to do that, but yet. All right. So there's a quick activity here, and that is, what is your professional brand? And so what I'd love for you all to do is take a moment and share 3 words that your friends would use to describe you. 3 adjectives that your friends would use to describe you that is in alignment with what you want your professional brand to be. So take a second and then drop that into the chat. Oh, awesome. Look at this. Here we go. Helpful, determined, passionate, witty. Oh, that's a good one. Responsible, organized, trustworthy. These are incredible, everybody. Yes. Friendly, determined, driven, kind, helpful, organized, hardworking, determined. Yes. All right, you get it. Awesome. And so these are words that you want to be able to express through your social media, through LinkedIn. And how do you do that? Well, like I said, you want to make sure that you're connecting with things that you're passionate about and in different groups and communities through LinkedIn. And so how do we show that we're the right choice? Well, you get to decide what people's first impression is going to be of you. And that's the case in, just like I was talking about, in how you dress every day and how you went to school and how you show up in society. And so it's the same way with LinkedIn too. You know, you get to decide how how people get to view you. And so make a strong LinkedIn profile so that your professional profile shows up in Google first. Talk about optimizing it, and really the more on LinkedIn you fill out, the more you have optimized that page. And when people Google you, because it's one of the very first things that we do when we look for hiring people, is I'm going to Google your name. I'm going to look at your Facebook page if it's open. I'm going to see what your presence is online. And you all want the first thing Googled to be LinkedIn, not your TikTok account or whatever. So you utilizing LinkedIn and optimizing it is going to really help in people helping to select you as their next rock star employee. You want to stay active on your LinkedIn account to build that online presence. And so what a lot of people use LinkedIn for is posting articles and podcasts and sharing things that they're learning in their professional worlds. So whatever you're passionate about, maybe posting an article now and then so people get that idea. And then I will say at the very end of this, be careful what you post. It could harm your professional brand or you. And I hope you all know this, but it's a digital footprint. And whatever is left online, even if you try to delete it, it really never goes away. And so it's really, really important that no matter what we're doing on the internet or really anything in our lives, that we're putting out positivity, because it can always come back and bite us. If anyone reads the newspaper ever, you see politicians and athletes and celebrities constantly getting in trouble for things that they did online years ago, and things resurface. And so the best that you can do to prevent those things from ever happening to you, phenomenal. So I encourage you, definitely be careful what you are putting out onto social media, especially your LinkedIn's. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts about building your LinkedIn profile. So there's 4 parts of this. We'll talk about setting up your account, the difference between a LinkedIn profile and a resume. We'll talk about taking a photo, and we'll talk about editing that profile of yours. So the very first thing is setting up an account. You all said you have either an Android or Apple, or a few of you said you didn't care, but I'll just go ahead and assume that you have the ability to download LinkedIn. And so that would be step 1, is going into the App Store or the Android App Store and downloading LinkedIn. You can also do it from a computer. I much prefer editing LinkedIn and working on LinkedIn on like my Chromebook than my phone. My phone is not as easy for me, and I much prefer being able to like really type things out. And so it's easier to do that on a computer, but you can definitely download your LinkedIn on your cell phone. Now, let's talk about a profile versus a resume. So there's a big difference actually between your LinkedIn profile and a resume. On your LinkedIn profile, you're really speaking to everybody. You're not targeting one specific employer, which you would maybe do with your resume. With LinkedIn, it's really, hey world, here I am. It goes into more detail with skills, projects, interests, and certifications, because a resume should really be one page. It should be a quick snapshot of just the most important information that you want to share with an employer. LinkedIn is where you can share everything with them. So it's really a great place to kind of go more in depth versus that resume, which is just going to give like quick little bulleted ideas about things, versus your LinkedIn page, which can get really crazy. It also allows other professionals, employers to interact, learn, and contact you. So with that premium account, like we were talking about, people are going to be able to reach out to you, and you'll be able to see who they are. You never know who Googles, I need someone who lives in San Francisco, show me every college student in San Francisco. Boom, LinkedIn's going to pull them. Now I'm looking through, oh, they're at SF State, they're at a community college, I need someone from both. Like boom, 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 I'm reaching out to you now. We never, ever know. So it's really nice to have that available. And then you can also get recommendations and endorsements. So maybe you had a really great boss when you had a job at high school, and you're moving away to school and you don't have the opportunity to work there anymore. Well, that boss can go onto your LinkedIn and write like a review about you and say how amazing you were. And so when future employers want to pull up your information, it's like they already have a reference built in, which is really special. Just check in the chat, make sure there are no questions. And I will remind you all at any point, drop a question in the chat. I can pause myself and answer your question. I know that sometimes things pop into our heads, get it out there. You don't need to wait until the end. We will have an opportunity at the end to answer any Q&A questions, but while we're talking, don't hesitate. So let's talk about taking a great photo. I thought this was a really interesting statistic that LinkedIn provided us, and that is that members with profile photos receive up to 21 times more views and 9 times more connection requests. And if you think about it, think about your own personal habits on social media. If someone you don't know requests to be your friend on Snapchat or TikTok, and there's no photo, you might not want to accept them because you have no idea who that person is. The same is true with LinkedIn. It's so much nicer when there's a photo and I'm like, oh, you're not a bot, you're actually a real human being. And I can kind of see what you look like a little bit, which is nice. So really important to have a professional photograph taken for your LinkedIn page. Use a background that's not distracting. So stand against a wall, or some of the phones have really cool features now, and you can kind of see it on this example where the background on this person's photo is blurred out. And so that's a really not distracting way of doing things as well. Dress for the job you want. Understand that you're taking a headshot. So really from the head up or the shoulders up, maybe put on a different shirt, make sure your hair is done. If you do makeup, do your makeup. Make yourself look as presentable and professional as possible, because again, we want to be putting our best foot forward. Smile, have a friendly expression. If you're not a smiler, maybe just don't frown in the photo. But definitely you don't want to have a hat or a hood covering your head. You really want to be, kind of open and so that people can see you. There are really great examples of these photos, actually, if you look in the members of who are in our Zoom. Some of them are 10,000 Degrees employees, others are just students. There's a kitty cat one that's really cute. I mean, I wouldn't use that maybe for my LinkedIn, I'd probably use that for my Zoom, but there's some really great examples of headshots in here. And then like the last thing we're saying in here is make sure that your head is really the majority of the photograph. Now we need to edit the profile. So you downloaded it, you took a good picture, you got that piece set up. What's next? All right. So you're going to click the me icon at the top of your LinkedIn homepage, and you're going to be able to add all sorts of cool little features. What location, where you live, what industry you're interested in, any work or internship experience you've had, volunteer experience. Those of you who are in high school or who just recently graduated, a lot of schools do service work. Talk about your service work. Many of you haven't had an opportunity to have a career yet. You might be the job you might be getting in college, maybe your first, job outside of high school. That's okay. People know you're not going to come with a wealth of information or experience, but if you've got volunteer things or service learning, please include that. It's a great way of showing who you are. Talk about where you went to high school. Talk about any certifications that you had. Maybe your CPR is certified. That's awesome. Include that in there. And then talk about any programs or organizations that you've been affiliated with. If you played sports in high school, if you were Key Club, Metcha, any of those, absolutely. And then as you are all beginning to, join your schools next year, maybe some of you are going to rush sororities or fraternities. Those are also great ways of making connections. So don't limit yourself to, oh, why would my sorority be on LinkedIn? You never know. You never know. You want to build as many connections as possible. Once you've got that kind of beginning story put together, you're going to want to edit your headline. And your headline is an opportunity to show kind of what you are, not just what you do. It's kind of like your tagline. If we were talking about a brand, the tagline for Nike, like just do it. There's some like really, really big popular taglines that we've kind of ingrained in our lives. What's yours? And what are you going to do to sell yourself to that, potential employer? if this is the only thing someone sees about you, like, what does it say? You want it to like really capture someone and get it in quickly. It's not an essay that you're writing. It's not a personal statement. It's more about making sure that like you can grab someone, that hook in the beginning, that first line of your paper that you're writing for English. Does this profile headline represent your professional brand? Does it make you stand out? And how does it show that you are unique? And does it capture what recruiters would care about? And so depending on what field you're interested in, in working or exploring, maybe you tailor that headline to kind of capture the field that you're interested in. All right, now we're going to talk about the summary. And so the headline is that like quick little snapshot. The summary is where you can actually kind of go into a little bit more detail and talk about yourself and brag. Humble brag is okay. I saw someone had talked about their 3 adjectives. They had written arrogant. Well, arrogant is a great way to kind of come at some of these things when you have to brag about yourself. It's not easy to kind of pat ourselves on the back all the time. Here's one of those scenarios where you absolutely want to do that. Let yourself shine. So make sure that you've got about 1 or 2 sentences to talk about who you are. Maybe after that, you've got about 3 to 5 sentences about your experience, top skills, things that you're passionate about. And then maybe at the end of that little summary, you've got 1 or 2 sentences about your future goals and how other people can engage with you. We'll talk about how people engage with you a little later too. So you've built the basics of your LinkedIn. Now let's talk about building your professional network. And that's done through these kind of 4 topics, which are building the network, discovering existing connections that you didn't know you had, searching for new connections, and expanding your network strategically. So this is one of my favorite things to tell people. It rings true occasionally, and that is, it's not always what you know, it's who you know. And this is really important in the job market. And I would love to see just a sign of hands or silly little emojis. How many of you have gotten a job, whether that's babysitting or working at Dunkin' Donuts or anything, that you got because you knew somebody? Not just walking in there or cold calling, but you knew someone and that's how you got your foot in the door. How many people have ever gotten a job because you knew somebody? Look at all those little hands. See? Yes. And so this is what LinkedIn, this is where the power of LinkedIn really comes in. Because what you did was you built yourself a way of showing who you are. And now we got to figure out how we're going to get our foot in the door, how we're going to get these connections. And so going to the next slide. Yeah. There are many degrees of connection. And so the first degree of a connection are those, I call it low-hanging fruit. Maybe that's your brother, your sister, a parent, a family member, someone within your inner circle, maybe your best friend, who's able to kind of get you in the door. And then we're going to go to that second degree. And that second degree are teachers, coaches, maybe friends of friends, maybe a friend who's not your best friend. Maybe you had chemistry class with them and you see them every once in a while and they posted on their Facebook or on their TikTok that their job is hiring. So that's that second degree. Now we look at the third degree. And this is really where LinkedIn comes into play, because as you join LinkedIn, you have an opportunity to make friends with people. And so that first degree, maybe your parents are on there. And so you're adding your parents as your friends on LinkedIn. And then that second degree is that next network. Well, that third degree is that most removed network. It's the people who are, maybe you didn't know them at all, but they're connected. They're a cousin of your friend and you didn't know them, but you saw because you're all connected through LinkedIn, you have these unique ways of being able to see the broader community that you not only live in, but maybe that you're trying to access as well. And so it's a really special way of kind of building that community and that connection within LinkedIn. And so say that you've got a connection. How are you going to reach out to this person? And there's a few ways of doing that, but really you want to send them a message, because just by clicking be my friend is great. But if I don't know you, why am I going to just accept some random person on a LinkedIn? Send them a message. Hey, I found you on LinkedIn. I just got into the nursing program at Sacramento State University. I see that you were in the nursing program and now you're working at Sutter Hospital. I'm really interested in learning more about what you do. Could we connect through LinkedIn? And so sending a message like that makes it really easy for someone to say, oh, you're right. Like, I don't know this stranger, but clearly they've done their work. They are interested in talking to me. It's not a bot. Yeah, I'm going to make this connection. And so really important to stick your neck out there a little bit. And maybe you are reaching out to people who you've never met before. You also can discover existing connections. And so if you click on My Network in the top of the navigating button, you'll actually be able to see, like I was talking about a minute ago, friends and family, former colleagues, managers maybe that you've had, past employers. And so it's an easy way to kind of make those connections. Say you need to search for new connections. Well, there's a search bar and you can kind of figure out where you're looking, but you can search by name, company, location, or keyword. And if you see in there, there's the second, and that kind of determines how far out on the networking you want to look. Do you want to look as far out as possible, or are you trying to keep it within kind of your own personal community? And so it's really tailored, and you can tailor these searches to finding more targeted audiences for making these connections. So after clicking connect, you send that invitation to meet and immediately personalize it, like I was talking about. Write a note. Don't just send a friend request without sending a little note in there as well. Hey, we haven't seen each other in a year. Nice to reconnect. What are you up to? If it's someone that you may have known in your past, if it's a stranger or someone you're trying to make a career connection with, utilizing what I talked about, like, hey, I found you through LinkedIn. Could we connect? I'm really interested in the work that you do. But sending that little personal note goes a long way. So we've talked about building our brand. And part of being a brand, if we're going to put ourselves in thinking of ourselves as a corporation or a brand, is I need to sell myself. How do I expand my brand? And how do I do it strategically? Because I don't need it to go everywhere, but I want to be sure that my brand is in the place that I want it represented. And so find people that you have things in common with. Maybe you've worked with them, or maybe that's a job or a place of work that you want to go. Let's talk about donuts again. Your dream in life is to own a Dunkin' Donuts. Well, you're going to need to figure out what that's all about. So finding other franchise owners who own Dunkins and reaching out to them and talking to them about their experience will be very important. You also want to connect people who can connect you. Maybe they're a bridge, professors, your 10,000 degree fellow, whoever, you've got people in your world want to act as a bridge. Maybe Eli, don't know anybody in nursing, but I know how to make that connection for you. Yeah, reach out to me and let's figure that out together. And so there's all ways that you can be strategic in making sure you're reaching out to that audience that you want. Now, what do I say? I don't just want to send like some random email to somebody. So say who you are, introduce yourself quickly, how you came across their profile, and how they can help you. It's okay to ask for help. Again, LinkedIn is different than Facebook. You're not asking for help moving. You're asking for professional career help, which is why people are on LinkedIn. And if they respond to you, they're definitely willing to take the time out of their life to help you kind of get to where you need to be. So don't be afraid to stick your neck out there and look for those connections. I see a few hands up. Are these questions that you have, or are these just lingering emojis from the last question I asked? All right, I'll assume that they are not questions. Or are they questions? I don't think so. All right, if they're questions, drop them in the chat if you'd like, or just interrupt me. Not gonna hurt my feelings. So now we're gonna talk about using your network on LinkedIn to connect you to opportunities. And so through that, we'll talk about messaging connections, asking for informational interviews, requesting referrals, requesting recommendations, and how you add value and engage with other folks on LinkedIn. So you definitely want to make sure that you're sending messages to your connections directly from the LinkedIn messaging page. You want to use your connections page and their profile. Don't reach out through like other emails. You don't need to look up their Gmail account. Utilize LinkedIn. We're not actually going to watch this video today because we don't have the time, but just understand that really making sure that you're utilizing the LinkedIn messaging program when you're asking for these things also removes a barrier of like, why is this person reaching out to me? It's not as awkward when it comes through LinkedIn. Ask for informational interviews. Those of you who just recently graduated, again, congratulations. And this is the time in your life where you get to explore and you get to dip your toe in many different pools and figure out really what do you want to do when you're done with school. Some of you may already know, and others of you are going to use your time in school to figure that out. And so informational interviews are a great way of going about that. You just get to sit down and talk to someone about their job. You are not asking for a job. You are not applying for their job. You are learning about a career. Career professionals love talking about what they do, especially if they enjoy their work. If you reach out to someone who likes what their job is and you say, hey, can we talk about what you do? 9 times out of 10, they're going to absolutely want to show you around their office or what they do, talk about the work, and if they're passionate about it, they're going to want other people to be passionate too. And so they're going to be thrilled that you have an interest in that. And so informational interviews are really a great way to learn more about what the world is, especially your interests. And at the end, I will say it establishes a professional bond. You know, maybe at the end of your conversation with this person, they say, hey, you know, I see that you're a freshman in school right now. Congratulations. When you graduate, come see me. I'll have a job for you. You never, ever, ever know the impression that you make upon someone. And so utilizing LinkedIn to make these connections and then following up on those to actually go out into the real world and meet with these folks to do these informational interviews are a great way for you to begin to grow that own networking connection that you want in your brand. Request referrals. You worked at Baskin Robbins and you loved your manager, you know, get them to write you a referral so that at least they can talk about maybe not how good you scooped ice cream, but how reliable you were and how great of a customer service employee you were. You know, whatever it is that you want these people to share, ask for referrals. Again, if you were liked by your manager and you were a great employee, 9 times out of 10, people are not going to hesitate to put together something for you, whether that's a letter of reference or writing a few things on your LinkedIn page. So definitely ask the folks in your world for this. Don't ask your family though. Your parents are going to give you probably a good recommendation, but an employer has no interest in your grandma's referral about you. We hope that she loves you, but I'm not calling grandma to hear how great of an employee you were. All right, so there is another poll that we have a question for, and that is, have you ever referred someone for a job? And so, yeah, I hooked up many people with a job, never had an opportunity to, or no way, I don't want to work with my friends. At different times in my life, I have been able to answer all 3 of these questions. I'm now at the stage where, yes, I've hooked people up with jobs. I think I started with I've never had the opportunity to. And then I think when I was in college, I was like, no, I don't want my friends working where I do. I won't get anything done. So I think I've been in all 3 stages. So I'm going to click the I've hooked up people with job. All right, last call, last call. Ooh, cool. Well, I would think that you all would probably still want to work with your friends. That's awesome. I like to see that 1% there. But then the rest of you have never had an opportunity to, wonderful. And a bunch of you have also, which is really cool. So LinkedIn's going to provide all of you these opportunities in the future. So requesting recommendations, how do you do that? You can click on the connections profile, click more, and then request a recommendation. We're going through some of this really fast because I'm going to encourage you all to download LinkedIn and just play around with it and explore. It's super user-friendly, and it's designed to be an easy to access and utilize program. So play around with it. You're not going to break it. So adding value and engaging with your network. You know, you're investing time in your connections. And so while you might not feel like, oh, this is like not really fun for me, you're investing in yourself and your long-term future, which will pay off dividends in that future. Like and share things that people in your network are posting and caring about. Again, the more you utilize and optimize your LinkedIn, the higher it goes on that Google search of optimization as well. Join groups, exchange insights, and interact with people. Even if you feel like you're being inauthentic and you're like forcing yourself to write something. Like, I'll be honest with you all. There are times where I'll comment on a friend's post, not because I care, but because like maybe I'm trying to help them expand their brand. And I have friends who own small businesses. And so I'm going to comment on their thing to like promote my friends too. Maybe I'm not trying to, you know, buy loafers that were organically and sustainably raised by a beet farmer in Ecuador, but I really want my friend and that beet farmer to have more exposure. And so I can comment on those things like, way to go, so cool, to help promote my community as well. So you can help yourself out. You can also help out the people in your world. All right, so here's the piece I think will be really helpful for many of you, which is searching for jobs, internships, and schools on LinkedIn. And so you'll be able to show people who are actively recruiting that you're open to work. You can search career opportunities, create search alerts, review jobs you're interested in, follow companies, and explore schools and alumni. So this first piece is you can show people that you're open to work. Underneath your profile picture, you can actually like add hashtags like looking for work. I think on mine right now, it says hiring because we've been hiring a lot of folks. And so you can kind of advertise why you're on LinkedIn. Like, what are you trying to do right now? You know, I'm not looking for a job actively. I love my job, but I'm on LinkedIn and I'm active on there because I'm trying to recruit people to join us and come work with a great organization. So many different utilizations, find what works best for you. You can search for career opportunities. There's always tons and tons and tons of jobs on there. Depending on what level you're looking at, you can filter by experience needed, by what the job pays, all sorts of things. It's kind of a fun way of just going around and exploring, seeing what's out there. You know, you can search within 5 miles of your home, 20 miles, 100 miles. You could look for a job all the way across the country. If you want to move out of California and move to New York City, let's look for a job I can find in New York. And so really, anything can be found on here. It's a really great way of utilizing the job search function. You know, they have other programs, Indeed. There's some really other cool websites. A lot of people are using multiple websites. So using LinkedIn for your internship or career search is a great place to start. You can create search alerts. So if you're looking for a specific job, say you want to be an aerospace engineer, you can put search alerts out. So when that job gets opened up at Berkeley Labs, boom, you'll get pinged and you'll get a little notification on your phone or your computer saying, hey, a job that you're interested in just opened up, which is also really cool. So maybe you're not actively looking, but you have a dream job in mind. post that dream, search for that dream job and connect with them. You're not looking right now, maybe in 3 years something pops up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a great opportunity. You never know. You can always review jobs you're interested in, kind of keep like your favorites list and go through them, look at the location of them, what skills they're looking for, maybe the experience that they've had. And so you can just continue to refine those searches. You can also follow companies that you're interested in, like we're talking about, maybe Berkeley Labs, or you want to own a Starbucks franchise. Follow Starbucks, see what they're up to. Maybe you're an employee of Starbucks. Also, a really great way of looking at possibilities to move upward within that organization. Maybe you want to work at the corporate level. You never know. Explore schools. Say that you're going to a community college for the next couple of years and you're not really sure, you want to get your bachelor's, but you don't know where you want to go yet. LinkedIn is a cool way of making connections with schools and school alumni. You can even find alumni from your school, reach out to them and see how their experience was going to that school or transferring, whatever it is. So there's so much information out there. You just, again, I'm going to say it, you got to stick your neck out a little bit and you will reap the rewards. Talked about the alumni as well. And so, all right, extra credit. There's just a few moments left. I really appreciate all of your time. It's 2:55 right now. We're going to go over by maybe a minute or two, and then we'll stick around and answer any questions that you have. But I definitely wanted to talk about some of this extra credit. And so there's some cool things that LinkedIn offers, especially through the premium accounts, that we'd like you all to know about. So you can gain in-demand skills with LinkedIn Learning. They have a whole portal of skill building exercises, and you can actually kind of click through them. Show of hands, I know that this is going to be cringy, but how many of you remember like IXL from math class? I know you thought you would forget, and we never have to talk about IXL again. Maybe some of you used a program like IXL where you would get like little badges for completing sections of your program. Well, the same is true with LinkedIn, and you can be awarded badges by completing skills. Maybe you show that you're sufficient at using Microsoft Excel or Word or Google Sheets. There's ways that you can kind of prove through LinkedIn that you're good at these things, and then future employers kind of see what skills you've already built in. So that's kind of a fun one. And if we go to the next slide, yeah, there's that in-demand skills. And then the next one is the LinkedIn Learning. And these are kind of like TED Talks. And these are great ways for you to, collaborate with people and also just get some cool virtual engagement information as well. And so another just tool that LinkedIn provides, and through the premium account, you don't have to pay for any of this. Join groups. Find and join groups of professionals to give and get career help. So again, stick your neck out there, find groups of people. There's a 10,000 Degrees group. We, as employees of the organization, we all belong to this group, and we can share best practices, ask questions, post cool articles about things that we've read, and just kind of have a place to connect. Also, when maybe someone moves on from the organization, they have a wealth of connections built now so that we can help figure out the next steps in their life as well. And so you never know what's going to happen. Nice to have those connections built in. All right, here's a big one. And here's one of the last things we're going to talk about: privacy settings. And this is really, really important for all of us. If you click the me icon at the top of your LinkedIn page, you'll be able to kind of mess with the settings in privacy. You can change your passwords, your notifications, and the language that you want for your LinkedIn. I'm going to recommend that you don't make your account private, however, because this is a place where you want people searching for you. So if there are things that you don't want to share, don't put it on your LinkedIn, but make sure that you're accessible so that people can find you. And remember, having that photograph of you is going to help people engage with you 20 times more than someone who doesn't. So I know that maybe you're shy, you don't want to put yourself out there, but putting a professional photograph of you on your LinkedIn is going to go a long way in helping you get what you want out of LinkedIn and out of the general world. Oh boy. Well, I just spoke for an hour straight, and I just want to see. First of all, I want to say thank you because you all stuck around. The number of participants didn't drop by half the minute I opened my mouth. So thank you for that. I appreciate your trust in us. But I just want to take a moment and open this up to any questions that folks have about LinkedIn or about 10,000 Degrees. You have a few moments. And if you did want to hop out, you're more than welcome to do that. We have captured your information if you completed one of those polls. And so be on the lookout for an email from us with how to set up that LinkedIn premium account. Really appreciate your time. I want to say congratulations one more time. What you all accomplished is an enormous feat, graduating high school, and you spent more time not at your school campus than you did on campus in your high school experience. And the fact that you are all here right now shows your dedication to your future. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Really excited for what you're all about to get into. Enjoy your summer, catch your breath, and then hit the ground running in the fall. But we will hang out in here if there are any questions at all. But thank you all so much.